he's just this little coiled spring, just this ball of energy, the way that he's able to like close distance. He's such a compact athlete. What's up, guys? Laura Sanko here, and joining me to break down Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier is the one and only Dean Thomas. I've gotten to know him on the weigh-in show. He is dropping wisdom during the fights when we go to that coach's corner. One of the smartest people in the game, a pioneer of MMA. So I'm just, man, I feel honored to have you on my channel, Dean. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. See, some people always talk about like great minds. I never think of myself as a great mind. I always think of myself as just I like to solve problems, and I just ask a lot of questions about the game. You know what I'm saying? And try to really find the answers. So that's what we're here doing. We talking about the game, trying to find the answers.
That's right. Curiosity is the root of wisdom. So I like that very, very much. And this. Now, I don't want to skip over the co-main event because that is going to be a great fight. Carlos Esparza versus Zhang Wei Li. That is a very important fight, exciting fight for the strawweight division. Do not miss that fight. The title is on the line, but I'd be lying if I said that the people's co-main or main event isn't Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. It's crazy that these two haven't fought yet because I mean, I guess Michael Chandler hasn't been in the UFC terribly long, but they've sort of been circling each other for the entire time that he has been in these shark-infested waters. And man, when you think about this fight, it immediately jumps off the page as a potential for fight of the year because neither of these guys knows how to have a boring fight. They have so many opponents in common. And I guess I'll start there. When you look at their fights with Hooker, Gaethje, Oliveira, are you someone who like watches those fights and tries to glean information, or is it really sort of like, listen, you got to just throw that out because it's these two in the octagon and it's a fresh fight when it's this matchup?
I do think in this situation, it's a fresh fight in this matchup because I think they're in different places of their life and their career where they want out of fighting. And I think that's the biggest thing here is this matchup is really dictated by what each guy wants in their career at this point. We got Dustin Poirier, who I think is really interested in trying to win fights.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Michael Chandler, who I think is really interested in trying to win fans, which is a very different motivation when you go into a fight.
Yep.
So Michael Chandler trying to win fans, and that's not to say he's not trying to win fights because the easiest way to win fans is to win fights.
Yes.
But I think when you're trying to win fans, you're going to be willing to take more chances and take more risks. So I think that there's a lot of differences in the way they approach fights, which could make this fight very interesting. I also think that this fight being 3 rounds,
yes,
could make this fight very interesting.
Well, that was actually my next question for you is, this being because they both have been in so many 5-round fights recently, who do you feel like the 3 rounds favors, if anybody?
It favors Michael Chandler for sure, because, and not that Dustin is a slow starter. It's just that Michael Chandler is so dangerous as a fast starter that it favors him to just come out guns blazing, because even if he gets tired later, he done did enough damage, hopefully, by coming out guns blazing. So he can't really afford to come out too slow. He can't afford to come out patient. He says he will, but he can't.
With that mentality, like you say, of it, I think you put it so perfectly. I might have to steal that for the weigh-in show, by the way. I'll try to credit you if I can.
Don't worry, it's yours. You take it. You have it.
I think you put it so perfectly, and with that mentality of wanting to put on a show, like he's such a great like company guy, right? He wants to do the fans right. He wants to do the UFC right. And he feels like by doing that, that is what is going to be his legacy. Not that he doesn't want to be a champion, of course. Is that a smart approach, though, against a guy like Dustin Poirier, who is so, and I mean this as a great compliment, so long in the tooth in terms of swimming in the top 10 of this division? I mean, God, when you look at his resume, Dustin Poirier's resume, his Tapology page is insane. It's absolutely insane. So is it smart for Chandler to look for another fight of the year against a guy like Dustin Poirier? Or is he setting himself up for I don't know, a tricky situation against a guy who's so good in the pocket?
No, I mean, we're not, Michael Chandler, he's new to the organization, but he is not a new fighter.
Yeah.
Now, if he's 20 something years old on the come up or in the prime of his career, then I say, nah, man, you can't take fights like this and fight this way. But the fact that he is, on his way out of his career, it's the perfect style for him, to be honest with you. And I think Michael Chandler's got it right. Get as much attention as you can get on each fight, get as many fans so that you can have a career afterwards. And to be honest with you, if he's going to beat Dustin, it's going to be early. He's not going to take Dustin into deep waters and drag him. He's going to have to beat him early. So his best chance of winning this fight is jump on Dustin while Dustin is still trying to get his motor going. So jump on him early, and if it don't work, then you went out swinging.
Yeah. Do you feel like he's going to rely on his wrestling a lot in this fight, or is that fight of the night going to be, let's just get out here and start scrapping?
No, I think knowing Michael Chandler, like he talks a big game, and and I love him. Michael Chandler is my guy, but I can also see him wrestling a bit. I can see, because I think that's a part of his excitement factor, because he doesn't just wrestle guys and hold you down. I can see him trying to intimidate Dustin by throwing him around a little bit, shoot a double, pick him up, throw him down, come on, jar him on a little bit.
He's so explosive. Like, he's just this little coiled spring, just this ball of energy. The way that he's able to like close distance, he's such a compact athlete. Much more so than Dustin Poirier. Not saying that Dustin Poirier doesn't hit hard, he's not a good athlete, but Michael Chandler, my goodness.
Yeah, and he's going to have to use that to his advantage if he wants to give himself a realistic chance of winning, because he's not going to win like a back and forth strategic battle against a guy like Dustin. Dustin will pick him apart all day. But I think Michael Chandler he can come out guns blazing. As long as he don't get hit with like something stupid coming in early, I think he can do just fine. But I wouldn't be mad at him for doing that, and then shooting some takedowns and just trying to make it ugly and just trying to really discourage Dustin. I can see him trying to take him down and discourage him and let him know that, listen, I'm stronger than you, kid. This is a bad fight for you.
It's such a fun matchup because both of them are so well-rounded and so, as you say, experienced. I mean, they both have knockout power. They both can grapple. They both have submissions. I mean, even when you run down their stats, they really don't have anything that jumps off the page as being like, oh, here's a hole, here's an opportunity. They are very, very well matched up. But when I look at the division, now that we have a new champion, because both of them have suffered defeat against Charles Oliveira, now that we have a new champion, do you feel like this is a fight that is it more important for Dustin Poirier to win this fight, or is it more important for Michael Chandler to win this fight?
I think it's more important for Dustin Poirier to win this fight.
Yeah.
Again, like I think, even though I think both guys are at the tail end of their career, I think for Dustin's legacy, because he's been with the company for so long, I think it means more to him to go out with the UFC on a winning streak. If Michael Chandler loses, at some level, you're still thinking, I mean, Michael Jordan will always be a Chicago Bull, right? And Michael Chandler, he's a UFC guy now, but he didn't come up through the UFC like Dustin Poirier did.
Three-time Bellator champion, right?
Yeah, he'll be the three-time Bellator champion who came over to the UFC and did his thing there for a little bit. But Dustin Poirier is a UFC guy. So I think it's more important that Dustin finishes his UFC career off with some good wins and some good fights. So I think this fight should mean a little bit more to Dustin than it does Chandler.
Do you feel like, just speaking to Dustin's perspective, do you feel like he has to have a certain type of performance to prevent the Dariushs and the Gamrots and the Fiziev of the world? Of course, we're talking about Volkanovski facing Makhachev next, but like, I guess, does Dustin even, is this a third attempt at the title for Dustin, or is this just like each fight that comes to me is the fight that I have and the fight that I'm focused on? And I guess I'm fascinated to know like how many fights he thinks he has left, and does he still have his eye on that prize? Because that Makhachev matchup it'd be great, but it'd be incredibly, incredibly difficult. I mean, it's gonna be difficult for anybody.
For sure, but the good thing about this matchup for Dustin is that Michael Chandler will do his job in making Dustin look good.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like Chandler's going to shy away from him and not make him look good. Chandler's going to make, if Dustin wins this fight, Chandler's going to make Dustin look good because Chandler's going to run in recklessly, get hit with something, get knocked out, or he's going to make it a crazy war and Dustin's going to pull it out, knock him out late, and it's going to just look good. And Dustin's going to be able to say, give me a title shot, and then the people are going to get behind it. So Chandler's going to do his
Chandler
part.
will still look good too. That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, as long as he maintains his entertaining style, his stock really doesn't go down in these losses because he's losing to the number 1, 2, or 3, you know, in that division. Like, you know, you're not going to get kicked out of the top 10 doing that.
Yeah. So there's no way Dustin can win this fight. And then they say, you know what, Dustin, now you got to fight, you know, Damir Usmagulov. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah. And that's good for Dustin too, because like, you know, you don't want to see Dustin have to go back and fight those guys. Because if he had to go back and fight those guys, I guess it's not going to happen. Like, Dustin's gonna be like, man, I'm not fighting these down like that. Yeah. So Dustin, I think he kind of has to win this fight because the only fights for him left are those big fights, are those, you know, a title shot, or I mean, it's just really that.
Yeah.
You
know, or a potential move up to 170, I guess, would open up some new interesting things, but
I mean, that's it. Like, because I can't see him going back to fight these killers at 155. That's just not going to happen.
Well, he certainly has earned, he's already cemented a legacy, even if he were to, I'm not saying he's going to, but even if this was for some crazy reason, his last fight, I mean, there's no doubt that Dustin Poirier will become one of the, you know, the Cowboy Cerrone, the Uriah Faber, the, you know, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, but those guys that were so good, so critical to the sport, pillars of what made the UFC great, what made their division great. They just never quite got to the undisputed title, but that doesn't make them any less important and having of a great legacy that they can leave behind once they do step away from the sport.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, do you put Dustin in there as a Hall of Famer? You know,
I do.
I do too. You know, I think he is a Hall of Famer. So regardless of what happens in this fight, I also automatically put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So regardless, he's gonna. I think he's always going to be one of the greats at lightweight, and you know, whatever happens in this fight doesn't really matter in that sense. But in terms of the way he ends his career, I think he's going to want to end it on a good note. Like, and that's one thing, is I think guys deserve to end their careers on a good note. That's, you know, Anderson Silva wasn't able to, and like Chris Weidman hasn't been that as fortunate to be able to end his career the way he would probably like to, but hopefully Dustin can.
Yeah.
Hopefully Dustin can.
Yeah, he certainly deserves it. Well, Dean, this fight's going to be bananas. Are you going to be in New York? You're going to be in New York, aren't you?
I'm going to New York. I'm going out there. I'm going to be partying it up.
Of course you are. You're also going to be dropping knowledge during the fights.
I am. And I got a Spider-Man outfit. I'm going to be on Times Square doing flips for change.
I am going to come check that out for sure. I will not be missing that. I will see you in New York then. I will see you guys next time I see you on my channel. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. If you like the video, please click like, subscribe. It always helps the sister out. I appreciate you so much, Dean Thomas. Thank you. And we'll see you guys next time.